Please.
Deebo Samuel, you know who he is, right?
I am ready to go.
Yeah. Deebo Samuel was on the Insiders on NFL Network. Just listen to this.
You've seen all these other wide receiver contracts getting done. You saw what Justin Jefferson got. You saw what CeeDee Lamb got. You got 2 years left on this deal. You put up numbers this year. Is any part of you going, I'm gonna get a little bit of that next year?
Control the things I control, and if the season goes as well as it should, you will be right there knocking at the door.
Oh my! We don't know what knocking at the door means. You're talking about a Super Bowl.
How naive!
I'm ready to go.
How naive are you?
But I'll say this for that, Steiny. I can't deal. We got a season to get ready for, but boy, all he's thinking is if I ball out, I'll be able to knock on the door and say, "Give me some." I can do the Trent Williams. I don't know. Hey, I'm not going to get mad at him for being honest, but
don't you think the Niners have to nip this in the bud?
And maybe they're doing it right now with Brandon Ayuk.
Maybe. I can't believe that.
So do you think that's not going over well if your management? Like, who would have a problem with that?
I mean, is that what we're doing?
Well, the guy asked him a question about watching 11 other of your, people at your position get paid. What was he supposed to say?
He was supposed to say, well, I'm under contract for 2 years. So I'm not thinking about that right now.
But we're in the me era, Steiny.
Yeah,
what can you do for me?
I guess we are. in that era.
Sir, you're under contract. I don't care.
I mean, maybe the other thing I was thinking about with the Niners that might be going on is they are playing hardball with the guys they want to play hardball with, clearly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I didn't have Brandon Ayuk as one of those guys. That's what's so perplexing about this whole situation. Man, I can't wait to see how they look against the Jets Monday night with the world watching.
Yeah, I wonder what 49er fans think if of what I said. And what it hit me yesterday. I don't think the Niners are going to reach an agreement with Brandon Ayuk on a long-term contract. I'm not sure they really want to. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Of course they want to. They're a better team with him.
No doubt. It's not his...
But that's it. They're just, how much better? I don't know. How can you replace Ayuk? You might be able to replace him.
Again, for me, he's 2 wins. If I'm predicting 11 without him, 9, 8. I mean, you cannot sneeze.
So you disagree with me?
Oh, there's no doubt I do.
Okay, you think it'll get done and he will have a new contract?
I do.
Okay.
I do. And what I hate about it, there's no victory lap in it because I feel like the time he's missed, they're going to pay for that. Maybe it's a quarter. Maybe it's a half. Maybe it's a game or 2. But I just hate the fact that after losing the Super Bowl, these situations hijacked the offseason.
888-957-9570 is the number. How do you guys think this ends? Does this end with a long-term contract for Brandon Ayuk, or does it end with him playing for $14 million, or does it end with him essentially sitting out? I think they are ready to bite the bullet and make him play for $14 million and see if he will actually not play for $14 million.
Now, let's do this, Donnie, just hearing you talk. If he tried to play that card, I mean, how loud would that be? Hey, he's hurting himself, but the message to the org is like, this dude is effing serious if they don't know that already.
The other thing, I just put up these 3 guys' names. I mean, the 49ers did not want to pay DeForest Buckner.
And they didn't.
They didn't. The 49ers asked Eric Armstead to take a pay cut. He didn't. He's gone. It's well documented how the 49ers treated Jimmy Garoppolo. He was once the highest paid QB. Yeah, and they had about 7 outs in his contract. What I'm getting at is I think we're watching one of those things happen in real time with Ayuk. I think it's starting to hit us in the face that they are ready, willing, and able to play without him if they have to. Again, they don't want to. But I think they're prepared to either have him not play or make it uncomfortable for him to get in and play for $14 million.
And
I think they've weighed it all, Goo.
Yeah, and draft
they're
night,
ready.
No
They're
doubt.
ready to
draft
do that.
night to me was heavy. That drafting of Pearsall, I'm still shocked. But I'll steal a page from Tom Cruise's book, Steiny. This is risky business. If you're telling me you're going to run it back without Ayuk and put it in the hands of Juwan Jennings, Cowings, and Pearsall, that's risky, partner. It really is.
But risky. I'm going to sound cavalier here, but how's it risky? This is a 12-win team.
But he's a top 10 receiver, I believe.
Okay, and what?
Are you good enough to just say bye-bye to that?
Yeah, I think they are. Again, they're not doing cartwheels. They're not. Of course, they want Ayuk. I don't see it. I don't see how they can pay him what he wants with the structure of the team and also the structure of how the 49ers play. I'd be willing to bet that they don't want to pay a wide receiver that kind of money. Because Shanahan loves diversity.
Well, you got to be careful then, Steiny. I mean, I don't understand how you draft a player or a receiver, as you just said. Mm-hmm. You watch him grow, you groom him, and then it's time to, give him his chicken. That's a beautiful thing. So,
well, but okay, you ready for this? He's not good enough. He's not good enough for the Niners to pay him that much money. He's not a $26 million player in this offense.
And as crazy as that sounds, I got to say right now, today, you're right. Because they have not, held up their end of the bargain.
Yeah. Chicago Jason, Goo, I love you, but Ayuk isn't top 10. He's not game planned around.
Wow. Steiny, I'm looking at you dead in the face.
Sure.
If they don't have Ayuk last year, let's do this to Chicago Jason.
Okay.
They're not in the Super Bowl.
All right.
I think they lose that game to Green Bay. I think they lose that game to Detroit. Not just because, just the threat. And if you're telling me Deebo was going to take Steiny, I love Deebo, but come on, man.
What?
Ayuk helps him a whole lot too.
Right, and McCaffrey and Deebo and Kittle help Ayuk.
But when you lose one of that, everybody suffers. To what degree? It's a collective.
Yeah. He's not worth 26.
Well, I think he is. He rejected that allegedly, right?
Gosh,
I just
maybe
wonder.
I'll be proven wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll be proven wrong, and he'll sign a contract, and he's going to make $28 a year with $90 guaranteed, and the 49ers will be clicking on all cylinders right off the bat.
I think that's a stretch.
What?
No matter what happens from this point on, this was butchered and botched. I feel like the Niners, there's a price to pay for how they handled if they get this rectified and Brandon Ayuk is in camp or practicing with the team getting ready for the Jets, Donnie. I don't think you can manipulate, and I'll if I'm wrong, I'll tell you all. We'll know 4 or 5 weeks in, but that's the risky part of this all. Is you're saying F you to practice, F you to conditioning, and I don't want to hear about these two guys at the LA Fitness or in a gym in Houston. You cannot duplicate, being on the field and catching passes from Brock. I could be wrong, but this is not how you drew it up.
No, it's not how you drew it up, but it's organizations and players have to adjust when things change. And I'll bet you maybe the 49ers, when this all started, thought they could wrap this guy up for a number, and that number's either not being offered anymore or his number went up. And I'm kind of with you. It's gone this long. It's had to have gone this long for a reason. And I don't know what the reason is, but I got to believe that they're really not that close. George Kittle was asked on the McAfee show, Pat McAfee show on ESPN, what it's like when guys are holding out and in a contract dispute. How does that work for the other players on the team?
as an NFL football player, like, not everything's guaranteed. You know, it's the NFL. It's not for long. So, like, you want everyone to take advantage of the situation that they're in and make as much money as they possibly can and, you know, do what they've dreamt about since they were kids and make money for their families. And so, you know, we all have their backs and we understand the position that they're in. So there's no bad blood or anything like that. So whenever they show up, whatever happens, it's pretty seamless. You're just right back into the flow of things.
There you go. So Kittle, just get him back into the fold and we'll be ready to go.
Now, some on the chat, we got to err on the side of caution. They're saying Ayuk is actually practicing today, Steiny.
Yeah.
So if that's
he's playing on the 14.
Wow, man.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know how, if we don't get the, breaking news sounder, how that couldn't be him just saying, you know what, I'm gonna just tough it out and play.
Well, maybe they're going to announce a contract extension at the end of the practice. I mean, Lynch and Shanahan are talking today.
Oh, they are?
It's not out of the question.
I think that just got more juicy for me. If he is out there practicing, what they'll be able to say.
Yeah, I agree. If he's out there practicing today,
that's progress. You think?
Well, it may be. It might not be progress on the contract front, but it's progress on the field front, right?
The 14. No, wow, man. Hey, again. I want him to play. I want him to be a part of the team. I'm just echoing. I would be shocked if he kind of said, you know what, it didn't work. I'm going to play on the 14.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, now we got something to really look forward to at 2 o'clock when Shanahan and Lynch talk. They're going to talk about the cuts they made and getting down to the 53-man roster, but I'm sure they will absolutely get into Ayuk and Trent Williams and the rest of it. Goo, what do you think about the fact that the 49ers this year, what if I said, you know what, they're already starting to kind of transition because they're going to play 7 rookies. That doesn't even include Pearsall. So they're going to play 7 or 8 rookies who are going to have a role on this team. And we know that Kyle Shanahan isn't crazy about young players. He's got a little Steve Kerr in him because there's a lot to learn in his system. Apparently, it's really hard for an offensive lineman. But if they've kept 7 rookies, and I mean, they're going to play.
If you're telling me they're going to have roles,
yeah,
that's scary. And you feel like, and you think back to, when that wasn't the case and you weren't dependent on rookies as much as it looks like you may be doing this season, Steiny. I can't let go of how close and, when you just dumb it down, did they blow past their best chance to get that Super Bowl? Now that you got a lot of youngsters, youth, inexperience that you're dependent on, starting on the line of scrimmage with Pooney on the offensive line. That's a big deal.
See, and that's where I disagree with a lot of people. Spadoni's one of them.
What
he's
is
in there kind of laughing.
Oh, I didn't see him.
And I get it. You didn't read the thread last night?
No, I had some things going on.
You all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody, conventional wisdom is you draft a guy, you develop a guy, you pay a guy.
Well, hello. That's it.
It's not. It's not it in the NFL. That's not it.
So what step are we missing?
You draft a guy, you develop a guy, and then before you pay him, you draft another guy. And I think that's another thing that's happening with Ayuk. They don't want to pay Ayuk. They've got two rookies on the team right now, and they expect him to play. They're talking about Cowing playing a little bit right now. They're starting to call me Math Steinmetz.
That's a 3.
I didn't do it.
I'm giving it to Evan.
Yeah, I think we're starting to get some answers that we really don't like.
Especially at 2 o'clock. If he's on that practice field study, I cannot wait to hear him talk now. Both of them.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah. We got Cam coming up at 12, too. We can ask him.
Exactly.
So if he's out there practicing, something must have changed.
Well, Yeah, we got to figure out if that's the case.
Okay.
888-957-9570 is the number. I mean, I could just put it to you this way. I mean, you telling me 7 rookies are going to play and you want to win the Super Bowl? Does that go hand in hand?
Well, that becomes more difficult, right?
Yeah.
That's the obvious. And that's why this 5-year stretch, now you're getting to the end, the latest iteration of your team, and you saying you're going to get an infusion from the rookie class. I got my popcorn.
Well, I also think, if they've kept 7 rookies, they think that they've really had a great draft. And if they had as great a draft as they think, then this is kind of what I mean about, we always look at it as this is the most important year of all time. Well, if you're telling me that in this draft, they found 5 bona fide starters.
Well, we don't know that yet.
No, but but they've kept 7. In other words, that's the other thing I think we have to look at. They kept 7 guys, really 8. The other guy was claimed, but they kept all their rookies. In fact, 7 of them are on the 53-man. At the same time, and I don't have the names in front of me, but they cut 3 guys from the 2023 class and 2 guys from the 2022 class. Mm-hmm. So what that tells me is, I'm not saying it's a rebuild, but they think they've got young players in here who can grow and be really good. And this is what I mean. They're not giving up on 3 years from now with these guys. Wow. And so if I'm the Jets,
though, Steiny, and you're telling me, and I just heard that soundbite by you about, hey, Niners got, some rookies that are going to, contribute. Brandon Ayuk, we don't know what's going on. I would be, if whoever I'm playing, the Niners is the team I want to play then. You know what I mean?
Well,
because it could go either way.
They still have many big boys. Yeah. They still have many big boys.
But if you're telling me the rookies are going to make an impact, that could be a bad impact. It could be a good one.
Well, let's go through it again.
Yeah.
Because, Pooney.
That's big, huge. Rookie starting.
That's good, right?
Yeah, until we see if he can handle it.
Well,
now if he's a weak link, then you're like, oh boy, Brock taking shots, and the plan of attack is to go at him. Then you're like, oh boy,
see, I
is he going to be able to survive? Talking about Brock Purdy, it sounds good, Steiny. Yeah.
Well, it should sound great because Shanahan doesn't play a lot of rookies on offense. He doesn't. So the fact that Shanahan is okay with Pooney playing right guard, it tells me he's pretty good, probably. Renardo Green.
I like him.
He's a backup.
I know.
Okay. Mustafa could get snaps at safety.
He can hit.
Cowing should get snaps as a backup receiver. So I'm overblowing it a little in terms of what they're likely to provide. They're right now kind of rotation guys rather than every down guys, or that's the way it seems. But this is remember when Shanahan said, I don't look at it as 1 year. I look at it as you got to make decisions for now, for down the line, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I think it's right in front of our eyes, and maybe we haven't seen it.
Well, if you look at some of the offensive players, Steiny drafted Trey Sermon, Davis Price, Danny Gray. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget he caught that bomb from Trey Lance in preseason. I mean, those guys are gone.
That was Sherfield.
No, well, he caught one too.
Oh, he threw 2?
Yeah, but my point is, those guys are no longer on the team. So when you say or foo-foo Brandon Ayuk and what I believe is his talent, you got to be careful because there are misses. And I just named 3 of them, offensive players that had no input or impact on this team. I mean, you draft a kid, you raise them, and you pay them. And then the other part that you didn't mention, Steiny, is you keep them.
Yeah, that's not the way I would build it.
In saying that, be careful what you wish for. Brandon Ayuk is above. I know somebody said Guru not top 10. I'll give you that. He's an above average receiver.
But that is the way you do it. You draft a guy, you develop a guy, and then you decide whether you're going to pay him or you're going to draft his replacement. Like, that's the way you got to do it in the NFL. And I just think they've kind of chosen the direction that they want to go in, and that is, again, not we're doing cartwheels. We are so happy we're doing this. I just think I just think they have to do it because the money situation is
and injury too. Steiny Hufanga on the pup. You know, he had a big injury. Greenlaw.
Okay.
So, you know, guys are going to get opportunities. So when you say Mustafa and guys like that, I'm like, yeah, I could see them getting the opportunity. But we can't omit that a lot of that, too, on the defensive side of the ball, those two positions could be had or could be impacted by a rookie class because of those injuries.
Yeah,
two big boys.
Yeah, I was just more talking about Ayuk. You know, the 49ers drafted Purdy. It looks like they like him enough, they're going to pay him. Deebo Samuel, they drafted. They like him enough, they pay him.
Kittle,
ditto. Fred Warner, ditto.
Keep going.
Who else? I'm missing one guy. Anyway, I really think that they're just looking at Brandon Ayuk and
saying no.
You know what? Let's take our chances with Jennings, Pearsall, and Cowing.
Because if they did a 30 for 30 on that draft pick to Pearsall, Steiny, I'm still shocked. But now it's like, dummy, why are you shocked?
No,
they knew then they weren't paying Brandon. Or it could pop off like this, right? That doesn't sound too far-fetched.
I mean, I'll be honest. When they drafted Pearsall, I thought it was
Deebo.
No, I thought they were going to do it for a year. Like, they pay Ayuk, draft Pearsall,
and
play a year, and then make the decision on either Deebo or Ayuk and what they have to do with them. But maybe that was the plan, but Ayuk has really put a curveball in it because he's asking for more than they thought he was going to ask for. And maybe now they're just speeding the process up. We're all trying to figure it out.